It's Thursday. You know what time it is. Time for the hottest podcast on wrestling on the planet. Beyond the Barricade with your hosts, Dollar Bill, the Cleaner, and the Brain. Let's get started.
All right, everybody. Our first order of business for today. It's been a chaotic week so far already, and it's just starting.
Just
Pretty
starting,
much.
yeah. I
Yeah.
guess we could talk about Tony Khan's big announcement.
Ooh.
I agree. That's a great way to start the show.
Something that I was kind of under guessing the announcement. I thought it wasn't going to be as big as it eventually was.
Mm.
So Tony Khan announced around the halfway point of yesterday's Dynamite that AEW will be having its first United Kingdom show, first announced United Kingdom show on Sunday, August 27th, and it will be titled All In. Not All Out, but
All
All
in.
In. And it will be taking place from Wembley Stadium, not Wembley Arena, Wembley Stadium. There is potential for this to hit 90,000 people. That's how
That's
much that's how much the seating arrangement for soccer games is for Wembley Stadium. But
Mm.
it could be around 90,000, maybe even a little more, because this new version of Wembley has not seen wrestling. The one that we remember from Survivor or SummerSlam, that was the old Wembley. So this is the
Right.
entirely new Wembley. So, guys, what's your opinion on this announcement?
They need something really big time in order to really get that numbers in. I mean, so far AEW is still kind of a niche in a way. I mean, they can definitely fill in at least 20,000, but 90,000? You gotta have something really huge in order to do this. I mean, something that even a normal normies can get into.
I agree. I agree. But I believe since this is right now the first announced show for the United Kingdom, I do believe that it's going to be a very big demand. We saw how fast the Canada shows sold out.
Mm,
And I'm talking about the Toronto ones. I actually don't know the figures for the Winnipeg one that they had roughly last month. But
I'm sure that was pretty good too.
yeah, because it was their first West Coast Canada trip. So, this is their first time leaving North America. So I
mhm.
do expect this. I do expect about 40,000 within the first couple days. In terms of selling the place out, it might not be until the last couple days that they officially get a sellout. Should they do, I'm actually a little surprised that I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised going for a stadium. I'm surprised they chose Wembley and not the Tottenham Spurs Stadium. And the reason I say that is because the Tottenham Spurs Stadium, I believe, is also in London, but it's a very newer stadium,
Mhm.
and it also had was is co-owned by the NFL. So
Ooh.
I would have expected them to go to Tottenham Spurs Stadium because they could probably get a better deal in terms of renting the place out, since especially it's the Jacksonville Jaguars owner, you
Yeah.
know. Um
Right.
Well, Wembley has hosted American football as well. So,
but they London hosts, I don't know if it's either Wembley or the Tottenham Stadium, but London hosts one Jags year a year, like a one Jags game a year since 2016 maybe.
mhm.
Mm.
So, the Jags are the more popular team in London, especially there was rumors of them moving to London. But yeah, that's why I'm a little surprised it's not the Tottenham Spurs Stadium.
Yeah, them moving to London wouldn't be feasible
No, no.
because all the other teams' games are in the States. They're going to spend more
Yeah,
time in the States than they are at home.
Right.
Every
yeah.
other week they're going to be flying back and forth. No, it's not
But
going to work
that
for them.
that was just a supposed rumor. Yeah, there was nothing more than just a planning stage. So
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think the NFL would
yeah.
let them go.
Not like
Well, the
that.
NFL wants a team there. There's no doubt about it, but it'd be
Yeah,
a very financial and logistical struggle.
yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
so in terms of booking the show, I guess we could bring up AEW's very new signing as of last night.
Yes.
The one
Yes.
that everybody thought was going to appear Monday night, he appeared on Wednesday.
Yes, I do believe we have a Switchblade is all elite.
Mm-hmm.
Jay White has been signed by AEW.
And that was a statement. That was a statement because one of the things I would see out of Raw between a lot of the WWE fan base is that one of the things they were disappointed about was no Jay White.
Right.
Within the first 5 minutes of Dynamite, Jay White comes out on, Jay White comes out. So
It
that
start
was a statement by Tony Khan.
Very
he
much.
just started pummeling the crap out of Ricky Starks,
Yeah,
soon to be joined by Juice Robinson, which turned it
yes.
into a 2-on-1 beatdown.
Yeah.
We probably will see Ricky team up with somebody eventually down the line. Probably
Hmm.
a double enough. Probably they'll do a tag team match very soon, and then they'll probably do a double or nothing a one-on-one between Ricky and Jay White.
And you still have to finish the feud between Ricky and Juice.
Um,
So,
there's part of me that believes that because supposedly the rumors going around is that Jay White was signed for several weeks now, which means
Mm,
about 2 to 3 weeks ago, that's when this match was booked.
right.
And me believing it was probably booked in the reason to debut Jay White. So I think this is going to be Ricky versus the supposed Bullet Club because Juice is a confirmed member. It's still up in the air if Jay White is still a member of Bullet Club. So this is probably going to end up being a feud between Jay White, Juice Robinson, Ricky Starks, and probably a tag team partner.
okay.
Which yeah, who tagged him with Ricky though? That's the thing.
It is because you saw him team up with Action Andretti a couple
Hmm.
weeks ago, especially or a couple months ago especially when he was going up against Chris Jericho.
Right.
So whether it remains to be Action Andretti, I don't know.
Hmm.
Do you guys have any guesses?
I actually think you're right about that. I think Action Andretti is probably going to be the odds-on favorite to be Starks' tag team partner because they have worked together. They do work well together, and neither Jay White nor Juice Robinson have really seen much of Action Andretti as of yet.
No, but when it's somebody like Jay White, you don't really need to study your opponent because you have the skill set to go out there and compete at the high level. He has been carrying New Japan in the quote unquote pandemic era. These last 3 years, well, hell, since Kenny Omega left, they were aiming for Will Ospreay to be that top international star, but Jay White overshadowed him. And Jay White was originally supposed to be the replacement for Kenny Omega, but Jay White became Jay White.
Right.
Right.
And so when you're somebody of his level, you don't because like he could tell you himself, he single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden and then walked into Madison Square Garden with the IWGP Championship. Now, did he walk out with the title? He won't tell you that part. But um, but yeah, no, Jay White, he's everybody's saying it. It's such a big get for AEW, such a big get, and it's such a big loss for WWE not to get him.
Agreed.
Yes. Now the only thing is get the casual fans going behind him. I mean, we know AEW is mostly hardcore, so most of the people that are going to know who he is. It's now just having to market it out so other people can, buy tickets and merchandise and whatnot, especially since he's showing up. And not everybody still
Um,
knows Jay White, and other than the hardcore fans.
I will say this: you could see it online. There were several WWE quote unquote stands that
Hmm.
were, I don't know if they were pretending or if they were trying to learn who he is, and they were very big supporters of him. So I think that's the one thing I don't like about modern wrestling fans today is that they always complain about, oh, we don't know who he is. you have a phone, you have a computer, you have the internet. It's very easy to find out who the person is.
It's very
Yeah,
easy to look up matches of his on
Yeah.
YouTube.
it
Yes.
is. And it's just
Yeah.
crazy when people just
And
keep going on. Like, they don't want to do it.
like if I hear about a wrestler and I don't know anything about him, I definitely look him up because
Yeah.
I want to know what this guy or this girl is all about,
Yeah,
Yeah.
what
same
kind of
here.
action she can pull off, what her character's all about, and everything. You want to get to know who's going to be on the show so you can form an opinion about them.
Yes.
You
And
can't just wait until they're on the show and you see them in action for the first time. So then you're surprised, like, oh, I didn't know he could do that, or I didn't know she could do that. You got to have some basis on which to form an opinion.
I want to say it. It's okay to not know somebody,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not okay to not put in the work and complain that, oh, you're hiring a bunch of nobodies when you could look them up and learn who that person is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's okay not to know, but put in the time. You can put in the effort to learn who they are.
This ain't like the old days where it's like people just come out randomly, and unless you're a hardcore fan, you wouldn't know. This ain't the old
Yeah.
days, you know.
Right.
But I mean, I would say it's different today because
Yeah.
we have the availability to look them up. But you didn't have that back then.
Nope.
Nobody
Exactly.
knew Izam Yankum was Kane.
Mm. That's yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Now,
right.
on the other side of the AEW ROH rosters,
Mhm.
somebody's back.
Yes, one of the most talented men in Ring of Honor history, one of the shining stars of Ring of Honor during its golden era is back with the company. Nigel McGuinness has
Mhm.
re-signed with Ring of Honor.
Oh
Looks
yeah.
like he will be
Thank
doing
God.
commentary work.
Oh, I
Yes,
love his
thank
work.
God he's right back at home.
He's back where
Um,
he belongs.
he was one of the men that was a part of one of the biggest matches in Ring of Honor history, the title unification match between himself as Ring of Honor World Champion versus Bryan Danielson as Ring of Honor Pure Champion. And even for those last couple of years after he left TNA, he came back to Ring of Honor, was doing work as a matchmaker on screen,
Yeah.
and was a commentary. And him, Kevin Kelly, and Steve Corino were wonderful together. So to
Oh
hear his
yeah.
voice again in Ring of Honor is going to be amazing.
Indeed.
It's gonna be fun.
And having been to plenty of Ring of Honor shows over the years, seeing him in the ring itself, especially when he was having his battle against Morishita.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
Morishima. Oh man, I wish you would just somebody would give him his due, man.
Yeah.
He was the dominant heel of Ring of Honor during that time, and it actually elevated him when he returned to Pro Wrestling Noah because he went like you go from learning and on your excursion to wrestling guys like Nigel, Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, Tyler Black, some of the biggest names of that, those 2000s, like 2005 to like 2007. And then you go back to Japan, and now you're facing guys like Kenta Kobashi,
Oh yeah.
Mitsuharu Misawa, Jun Akiyama, Toei. Your face, he, and the matches he would put on, like I still get goosebumps thinking about when he had that fight without honor versus Bryan Danielson, and he was already in the ring, and Bryan Danielson's music hit, and it's playing, and then you just see the lights go out and they come back on, and you see Bryan Danielson just hit him with a forearm in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Oh
Right
my
there.
God. It was
Memories,
Morishima.
man.
Yeah, Morishima deserves his due, man. He really deserves it. He's so underrated.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. His uppercuts were just downright brutal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
Oh
s-
yeah.
you kind of wondered how guys didn't end up with serious neck injuries from the whiplash they get
Mm-hmm.
from those uppercuts, those European uppercuts he
Yeah.
laid in.
Yeah, he was great with
The
that.
only
Like,
person I could say that would actually rival his uppercuts is Claudio.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Claudio's
Claudio and Nigel
very
are
good.
two of the most deadly when it comes to European uppercuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about Nigel is that even his bad matches are not bad matches.
No, not at all.
One of the matches that people say are one of his worst was when he faced off against Kurt Angle in TNA. It was, I think, his second match in TNA, and it was
Mm.
not a bad match at all. It wasn't like a high profile Nigel Guinness match, but like it wasn't a bad match at all.
Nah, man, like this a 3-star.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was only like a
three,
three-star match.
three and a
Yeah.
half at the most.
Yeah,
But
which is
it
bad for
definitely,
Nigel, but it's like an amazing match for so many other talent.
yeah,
Oh,
definitely. All right, let's move on, guys.
yeah. Yes.
WrestleMania was this past weekend. Some of the hardest hitting, most action-packed matches I've seen in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Then we come to Monday night.
I can tell you right now, it was it was a WrestleMania both nights. I never heard so much buzz around WrestleMania, like so much good spirits and so many good reviews about a WrestleMania in a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because especially with these two nighters, sometimes you'll get a really good night one, but then night two will be trash. But coming out of both nights, even with the result of the main event, the only match I watched that entire those two nights, um, it was wonderful to see, even as a non WWE fan.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we come to the debacle
Of
that is known
Raw.
as Monday Night Raw. 0.63 viewer rating.
Oh, the point,
0.63.
Wait,
yeah,
isn't that
0.63.
that was on Cage Match, and that's basically they allow you to Cage Match is probably the most well-known wrestling database website. It is a German website, so sometimes there are some translation errors, but they do allow you to rate every single wrestling show
Mhm.
out there.
I
And
checked a couple of different sites and
yeah,
the ratings were right around the same area, 0.60 to
yeah,
0.65.
they
They were
allow
horrible.
you. I think Cage Match allows you to rate 0 to 10, and it's a
Yeah.
0.63. And I don't know exactly how many people. I'm gonna look it up right now about how many people actually put in a review.
Yeah,
But
Even
yeah,
I'm looking at the regular ratings here between one out for Raw, and I see how we're down here real fast.
yeah. And then
um,
you could tell just based on except for the energy when Triple H came out and did his promo at the beginning of the show
yeah,
and the energy just steadily went down.
yeah. So I'm looking at it right here. It right now it currently sits at a 0.62
Hmm.
out of
Oof.
338 votes. 254 of them are zero.
Ouch. Ouch.
Only two people voted 10. Uh, no people voted 9. One person voted 8. So only about 5 people
The,
voted anything above a 6.0.
the two people voted for it for the 10 was Vince and Brock.
Yeah, yeah. Mind you,
No, Vince and Roman.
this is a 3-hour show. 5 matches on the entire card.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is not good.
Only 30 minutes of wrestling on a 3-hour show.
And the biggest
Yeah.
match of the night was the tag team match. Owens and Zayn versus Street Profits.
That was the best match. It's rated right now on 73 votes. It's rated a 6.47, which is actually really good.
Yeah.
For Raw, yeah.
Yeah. And so what was it? The main event was supposed to be the Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes tag match. And
Against
then
Roman Reigns and Sikoa. And then Brock turned on Cody and absolutely annihilated him.
Yeah.
So this is how they're going to build Cody back up to go after Roman Reigns again.
that's
He's
if he
going to,
does.
That's the thing too. I mean, can they actually make the storyline pay off in a year again?
Yeah. Because
I think it'll happen somewhere around SummerSlam.
Freddie Prinze, who's a former writer for WWE,
Mhm.
besides being a writer in Hollywood, talked about how sometimes stories write themselves.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be waiting for a story to say, oh, hey, this guy should win here at this specific date. Because, it's ruining it. Everybody knows he's going to win. But there are times where people need to win on a certain night because that's when you catch it while it's hot. Cody winning the title is not going to be the same as it would have had it happened Sunday. Had it happened Sunday, it would have been a much, much bigger deal. The entire wrestling world was behind Cody Rhodes,
Yeah.
and they let
Absolutely.
it go right through their hands. They let a wonderful moment go right through their hands.
Sometimes he should have just shot the bullet and be like, no, let him win. I mean, I
Yeah,
understand they want to build Roman up to be that much of a monster and a legend. I mean, 1,000 days, upcoming that one, and then supposedly trying to beat San Martino's first record, which was
there's
like
no way
1,200.
There's no way in
because
hell.
No, the
it'd
first
have to
record,
be
not the
another.
second one.
Oh, okay. Because the second one is 8 years. That
Yeah.
means it would be another like 5 years, I think.
Oh God,
Which
five
is it shouldn't happen.
5 more years of
Um,
Roman.
because now it's like, okay, who do you have? Who do you have that? Yeah, okay, yeah. So Roman's gonna take some time off. We all knew that.
Mm-hmm.
So is he gonna work Backlash? Is he gonna work Money in the Bank? There's like three
Mm.
pay-per-views to go before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Is he gonna work any of them? Is he gonna defend the title at any of them? And if so, against who? This is this. You had that story prime for Cody for Sunday to have him win it, and it was going to be. I promise you, because now I don't think people are gonna see Cody in the same light.
Yeah,
Now that he lost, it's not gonna be as good as the second time. The
no,
second time is not gonna be as good.
I mean, they're trying to go for that whole Rocky redemption thing, but I don't think they really understood the whole point of the Rocky movies.
Yeah,
It's like you can, just because he lost, like you think he's gonna have the same momentum, but that's not a
he
guarantee.
he won in that for right. He lost in the first movie, but then he still won in that first movie.
No, the
No,
first
he
one,
didn't.
no,
Oh, okay.
no,
First
he
movie was a
lost.
draw.
No, first movie he lost by points.
Rocky?
It was a decision.
No, it was a draw.
Hold on,
Decision.
I'm gonna look this up.
First Rocky movie was a draw.
No, I'm sure it
And
was a
they said,
decision
and then
because they
Apollo
were.
said no rematch. And
Yeah,
Rocky
they
says,
said
I
that.
don't want one.
No, because it was on the
Um,
judges. One of them had scored for Rocky, and the rest scored for Apollo.
okay, how exact? Yeah, wait,
I
no,
could be
that's
wrong, but
Lost
I'm very sure that's what it was because because I know Apollo was cheering afterwards.
Uh, Rocky won, so to prepare a fight. After the fight, Jurgens declares Apollo Creed the winner by virtue of split decision.
Okay. All right. I stand
Yeah,
corrected.
no, it's like but believe me, that's not. It was like you had to catch it. It was not as easy to catch. But still, though, go back to the first point though. So you have Cody basically hyped up. He's elevated to this point where he can get the title
Mhm.
because a lot of people are not exactly fans of seeing Roman with the title. They're getting a little tired of the whole bloodline storyline where basically everybody keeps interfering. I know some people made the whole argument about the horseman and everything, but even then, they still had their losses. And now you basically shot that down. I mean, what's going to happen next year? He's going to try again. He's going to basically win the Rumble or win
Yeah,
the Elimination Chamber. How's that going to be believable? And then who? And then we have somebody else going up there to go against him, and the fans are on that person's side. I mean, I know this year was like Sammy. What's going to happen next year?
yeah, because like I could see maybe something they're trying to do the same as what they did with Bailey
Mm-hmm.
because they had her lose at the third takeover, I think it was. So you had NXT Arrival, NXT Takeover, and then NXT Takeover Fatal Four Way. Yes, that's what it was called.
Yeah.
They had her lose, and then a couple months later, they had the only ever four way for a championship between the four horsewomen. But then they tried to rebuild her that way, and obviously it worked. But it's a much different crowd than one. It's a much different crowd. The
Mm.
NXT 2015 versus WWE main roster in 2023.
Yeah, especially
Agreed.
main roster.
And then it's different because when she lost the first time, it was babyface Bailey versus babyface Charlotte. Well, like or like a tweener Charlotte,
Yeah,
because she
let's
was in the
say.
process of like turning there.
Yeah.
And then obviously, then a couple months later, you had Sasha win the title. So it was a different person. Here, you're building. It's not really so much Cody now. It's more of who's going to stop Roman Reigns. So
Right.
it's not even Cody's story anymore. It's
Yeah.
Roman Reigns' story. So it's not going to have that same impact as it would have had Sunday night.
Absolutely agree with that.
That's the thing I think people keep missing this. Like they keep saying the story. You see all the people going back and forth, the stands and everything, the Roman
Yeah.
stands, the Cody stands, the Vince stands, and everybody's just throwing their
I have
opinions.
stands.
What's that?
I said I have stands.
Coming soon.
Yeah,
May,
coming soon.
May. Don't say it so short.
How much your seats in your stand's gonna be?
Whatever you pay. Whatever you pay. I'll take a hot dog and a handshake.
There you
I'll
go.
buy that for $1.
All right,
All right.
but yeah, but back to the whole thing. So how it's like how are you gonna build that? I mean,
Yeah, because you had your story written out for you. So then how are you going to build it to agree with you? It's like, how are you going to build it again to the next time they face off?
yeah,
Because like you saw what happened with Brock and Roman. Nobody was really like happy for that first Brock and Roman fight. But then each and every time it still got worse and worse and worse to the last time that they fought. It was like, oh my God. Like
How many
just
more
get it
times
over
are
with.
they gonna fish in this barrel?
Yeah. Yeah. It seemed like every WrestleMania was being made. Every WrestleMania and SummerSlam was Roman Brock,
Yeah.
Roman
yeah,
Brock, Roman Brock. They can't be keep on. They're like they can't keep on doing this with Roman and somebody. You know?
yeah. They didn't do
Yeah.
that with Austin back in the day or Rock back in the
No.
day. So why the hell are they doing it with this?
And that was the thing. They told a different story each and every time. Meanwhile,
Yes,
the Roman Brock thing was pretty much just Roman trying to take the title for Brock
Yeah, and
until the last.
Roman being taken to Suplex City.
Yeah, and then except for maybe like the last year or two, where it's okay now it's Brock trying to take the title off for Roman, and he's messing with Paul Heyman. But you know, going back to the Rock and Austin, they competed at 3 out of 5 WrestleManias in a 5 year span. They competed at 3 WrestleManias. Each story was a different time. First time was like Austin redeeming himself and getting back his title. The second time was two megastars clashing.
Hmm.
And then the third time was The Rock. Can he finally get over the hump?
mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
So
they
what?
can't
Yeah.
they can't be going back into the well each time. They can't say, oh well, work for these guys. Now it's gonna work for Cody. No, you can't
No, it's
predict
not.
them.
No, I mean you can try recycle, but
Yeah,
the word is it's you can recycle, but you have to really present it in a different way that it's the same story, but not the
yeah.
same way it's told.
I
Yeah,
think
you have to recycle the story, but reinvent the way you're telling it.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And I
Exactly.
think this is the main difference between like Vince or WWE and AEW is where how I see it in WWE is that so let's say both fan bases they know what's going to happen at the pay-per-view.
Right.
With WWE, or at least they have a preferred outcome. They said
Hmm.
we want this guy to win.
Yeah.
WWE will do a swerve to try to get ahead of that. AEW will say, "This is what you want. This is what you're gonna get." Because that's how I feel Tony is. Like
And
Tony will see something and he'll say, "Okay, this is what they want. Let's give it to them."
Yeah.
Tony actually listens to his fans.
It does feel it feels like he listens,
Yeah.
you know,
So
because I don't like that's what had me stop watching WWE is that I don't feel like I'm being listened to. I
I
don't feel
agree.
like I was being entertained. So that's why I stopped watching. I haven't watched a full event on my own in at least a good 4 years. I would say probably the last time was when I went to Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, All right, let's move on to NXT, which was a much better show. A lot
I
more
didn't watch.
action. And we had a champion. We had 2 championship matches. We had Indy Hartwell defending against Zoe Stark and retaining. And we had Wesley against Axiom 1-on-1 for the North American title. Also with Wesley retaining.
Did
However,
Wesley win the title at the
no, he was the champion going into the Fatal 5-Way.
at the pay-per-view?
At Stand and Deliver, he was the champion going in.
Okay.
So he came out with the belt again. And then he came out again on Tuesday night with his match against Axiom.
Mhm.
Because he was being interviewed at the airport by somebody, and Axiom came up to him and asked him for a one-on-one match.
Mhm.
And he gladly accepted right then and there.
Can I be honest? I don't like, now this goes for any wrestling promotion. I don't like championship matches on the show after a pay-per-view where that same championship was on the line.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the case of like Indy Hartwell, like she just won the title. And then the next show, like the next TV show, she defends it again. It kind of like sets you up to say, oh yeah, no, that person's gonna win in the second match.
I mean, the thing is I agree about that is it's almost like you're giving away the match for free on a
Yeah.
instead of putting it on a pay-per-view where you can
Or
actually
you
make
giving
money.
away the result is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
Right,
like
but what they did with Indy Hartwell and Zoe Stark is Indy was out there doing her promo, and she was making the comment that if it wasn't for Roxanne Perez, she wouldn't have been in the match, and there wouldn't have been a ladder match. And the first person who gets a title shot should be Roxanne. Then Zoe comes out and starts mouthing off and saying, no, she doesn't deserve a shot. She lost the title. She needs to go to the back of the line and work her way back up. And I should get the first shot. So Indy agreed to give her a match that night.
yeah, I would do if I
So
was the
that's how
booker.
that's how that came about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that could do
if
it.
if I was the booker, you do the obvious. To me, is the obvious thing is you say, okay, you versus Zoe versus Roxanne, the winner gets Indy.
Right, but they did the Zoe versus Indy, and
And
Indy
then
came out on top.
so then now what's up with Zoe? You just destroyed a star for like what? What? How long was it of a match? Like 5-6 minutes?
Yeah, I don't think they quite destroyed her, but they definitely want to build this up as a little bit more of a rivalry now.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say like that's why you have Zoe. You should have her beat the former champion in a number one contenders match to help give it a reason to why okay now she's taking on Indy for the title, and then that's where you could start your feud there because you do it like Indy versus or Zoe versus Roxanne with Indy sitting on ringside.
Watching and just
Yeah,
observing,
Yeah.
kind of like,
yeah, observing who her next challenger is going to be.
yeah, that makes more
And
sense.
I still
yeah,
think they could do that, but they wanted to kind of plant the seeds of that rivalry between Zoe and Indy
Hmm.
by doing this match.
personally for me, I don't think that's the way to start a feud, or at least this in this situation, I don't think that was the best. Like, I don't think that was the best option to go with.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I could.
But now to end the show, Carmelo Hayes, the new NXT Men's Champion, came out and he was doing his promo, and he called out Braun Breaker. Called him out to show him a bit of respect because they did have some battles. And at Stand and Deliver, after Hayes beat Breaker, Breaker handed him the title and shook his hand. Now, we have a heel turn. Braun Breaker turned heel. Beat the absolute crap out of Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Speared both of them right into oblivion.
Damn.
Yeah. Which kind of makes you think.
He ain't being called up.
No, I think that's setting this up. Because remember, I said at one of the previous shows that they had a poster for an NXT show in May, and Braun Breaker was featured prominently on the poster.
Yeah, and
So,
you don't turn a guy that you're gonna call up.
no.
Like you could turn him on the call up. Like if he were to debut on Raw and then now he's a heel, okay, yeah, that's understandable. But
Yeah.
you don't turn him on the show
And then bring
and
him up.
then and then bring him up, especially as a babyface, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't make a heel makes more
He's
sense, but baby sex, no.
yeah, he spent almost 3 years as a babyface. And then all of a sudden, bang,
Jeez.
they're turning him as a heel.
Right? Like that.
Wait, wasn't his first the first time I remember him having an appearance was the Kyle O'Reilly Adam Cole showdown right before Adam Cole left. That's the first time I remember hearing about Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 2 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Time flies, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, we have
So I think we're going to have some additional matches, not just with Carmelo Hayes, but now with Trick Williams, because he absolutely destroyed Trick as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
He hit him with the Steiner Slam.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then leading into before we end, I just want to talk about the wonderful tag team match in the main event of Dynamite between FTR, our new AEW tag team champions, their AEW career. And I want to say this, right? So I noticed this on commentary. I believe it was Excalibur. He
Right.
said, like one of the lines he was talking about was their AEW careers. I love that because
Mhm.
anytime you see like a career, a title versus career or a streak versus career, everybody always seems like, oh, these guys are going to retire after this.
Right. Or
I
jump.
think, yeah, not even jump shit, but just like they're done, they're retired after this.
Right.
But when you
Yeah, I
say
like
like,
how they.
yeah, when you say AEW career, that makes it seem like, oh, okay, they're just going to be leaving the company, if anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And in honor of them winning,
Yes, they're very up
There we
there.
are.
The very new shirt.
yes, indeed, came
You get
today.
on shop on
Nice.
you can get it at shopaew.com, or you can get also this shirt as well. The
Indeed.
official company shirt.
Exactly.
Indeed. Shop AEW for all your AEW needs.
And did you guys see who came out after the match was over?
Mark Briscoe, and I
Congratulate.
love that. Yep.
Yeah, I love that too.
That was wonderful to see.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
those guys were all great friends. They
Oh,
loved working with each other.
they became real good friends over the past year,
Mhm.
especially because you had those teases, and then at Final Battle 2021, the last Sinclair Ring of Honor show, to
Right.
see an AEW team appear at a Sinclair ROH, and because that's when they started the teasing for Supercard of Honor, because this is before Tony bought the company
Right.
too.
Yeah.
So they were planning on doing that match before Tony bought the company.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. We're basically running out of time, folks, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I would say follow us, or is it Beyond the Barricade on all the socials?
Beyond the Barricade on YouTube and Spotify.
All right. Until next time, everybody.
All right, gentlemen. Too sweet.
Too
Too
sweet.
sweet me.
Later.
Later.
Later.